Hey, Joanna.
Hey, Kathy.
I heard that you got your first LOA. Oh my
Yay!
gosh, that's amazing. So tell me about it. I thought you weren't going to do that, but tell me. I was thinking you should because you have too many clients.
I do.
Okay, so tell me about it. Tell me what's going on.
So, the reason I said I'd never wanted to do it was because I have owned Facebook groups for 10 years. And every time we have a lot of LOAs in the Facebook groups who always say, "Hey, how can I leave my employer and call all their clients?"
Right. And you're like, wait a
we
minute, I wouldn't want my LOA doing that to me.
It's a common conversation that is posted all the time or in my inbox. And then I've seen a lot of the former employees of some bigger LOA shops rob them literally. Like one of my friends got robbed for half of her clients, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month because they did export the names and
I
rewrite them.
no, I see both sides. Okay, I see both sides. Uh as someone who's built my business
Mhm.
on my own, like I was never an LOA. Um, but when I first became a financial advisor, um, and I worked in the 501c3, the nonprofit world, and I was given an opportunity to go and work in a city. So instead of a 501c, it was like instead of not anyway, it was different compensation, retirement for a city. And I was having a conversation with the main agent, and I wasn't going to be an LOA, but she was going to be the main agent, and I was going to be the sub agent, right? And so I was helping her
Hmm.
out because she had too many people. There was like, I don't know, 2,000 employees or something, and they wanted to bring someone in. And she said, "Okay, so here's how it's going to work. When you sign somebody up, there you have to do it to where I'm going to get whatever it was, half of the commission and you'll get half." And I said, "Okay, great." And she said, "That includes referrals." And that was my sticking point. Like I said, "Well, how come I wouldn't get 100% of the referrals?" And I kind of argued with her. And because of that, she said, "I don't want Kathy working with me on this case," because she thought I was going to steal her clients. And I do now understand that, but I still stick with I should have gotten the referrals and she should have gotten the main, like I should have done the split. But with an LOA, that's different because you are paying for them. They are an employee.
Yeah, he's a W-2 for me.
That's right. You are bringing them in. You have to pay the all the W-2 stuff. You've got to pay the taxes. You've got to pay probably workers' comp, all of that, you have to pay an LOA. Whereas I was always going to be an independent contractor.
Mhm.
And I still stand by what I said. I think that if I would have taken that opportunity, it probably would have been good. But I think we would have had a falling out and it would not have been good for me, like in in the whole scheme of things. So LOAs have to understand, yes, you are doing the work, but it's kind of like saying that if you go to work at Walmart,
Mhm.
that you should be able to sell the Walmart goods on your own.
Mhm.
You should be able to leave Walmart, take some cereal with you, and go outside of Walmart and sell that cereal to their customers. That is not right. Or bring
I've
your own
never
cereal to the front door and sell it in front of Walmart. That's not.
Yeah.
It's different. If you're an LOA, your business belongs to the original agent. It does not belong to you. And if the agent didn't explain that to you when you first started, then that's on the agent. But any LOAs listening should understand when you leave, you're going to be leaving with the shirt off your back. That is the moral, that not only legal, but it's also the moral way to do it. And we understand. But if they call you, that's a different story. But you can't take that
I
book of
think it's
business
not a different story.
if
Like
they call you.
if my Mr. David calls my LOA after my LOA resigns and says, "Hey David, can you, fix my Medicaid?" he doesn't know that he's no like, even if he like, I have a 5-year non-solicit, like, I have a legal contract, even if they call you,
I don't
because
even know if
like, it
5-year will work. I think 2 years is gonna be the max in most states.
um, well, we did some research, but
Okay.
if even if my client calls you, it's never your client, especially if I hired this person to help me renew my clients, not to seek new clients. Like, he doesn't have to go fishing.
Mhm.
He's not it's not a typical LOA setup.
Right.
Like, I have a book of business that I can no longer do by myself, especially now that I have a little crawling baby everywhere. And and top flight agents need my time and help, right? So his main job is to do AEP appointments and appointments as they arise, SEPs, and help people answer their questions throughout the week, right? Because it's hard for me flying from conference to conference to call people back timely, to pull up their summary of benefits and explanation of benefits, to go through their claims issues. And I do have a service that does it for me. My IMO does some of it for me, like the claims issues, but to even know how to refer them back, like, sometimes I'm playing phone tag with people, trying to get them on the phone to go back and forth, right? And my assistant, he's not licensed, so he can't explain the summary of benefits. All he could do is email the summary of benefits back, right? So I hired him to answer all the questions that come up throughout the day. And I also hired him to do policy changes for current clients. So prescription reviews, things like that. He has agreed to offer ancillary benefits to people who didn't have them. He doesn't know this. Like, so he wanted an hourly wage, which I gave. He doesn't know I'm gonna give him commission on top of that if he sells a dental, a short-term home health, things like that.
Why would you give him
I'm
commission? Why not just give him a bonus?
a bonus, right? So it would be a bonus, right?
Okay. So not tied
Um,
to, it would just be
right. So if you sell a dental, you get a bonus, right? Because I want people to be incentivized, right? Um, and so, but like, he's also gonna be doing other work for me as like an assistant, like a licensed assistant. I know you have a licensed assistant. So he's gonna be able to, do other stuff for me. But we also integrated him. I'm very tech forward. Like, we had him on our Go High Level training Wednesday.
oh,
I purchased new AI software to do my social media, and he was on that training with the company. Like, I wanted to integrate him into the actual company and not just be sitting there answering the phones, answering like, you lost your Medicaid, how am I going to fix your life, kind of. So I wanted him to get a full scope of what we do, because we're a little bit different than the typical consumer facing only agency. I told him, I was like, I'm agent facing and consumer facing. So if an agent calls and asks you what special enrollment to use, that's also going to be your job. And so he wears a couple different hats, and he gets paid a little bit more than a normal LOA would, you
so
know?
I don't really consider him an LOA. I mean, he is, but I consider him more of an assistant
Yeah.
that is licensed, that
Hmm.
does enrollments or whatever for you. So his main job isn't selling, right? It's
I mean,
servicing.
it's servicing, yes.
He's a
So like, we
servicing
had
agent.
we had clients who moved from one state to another this past week, and he was. So I'll tell you, one of the biggest complaints I get as an upline, and as the owner of many field insurance focused Facebook groups, is I don't have time. I want an assistant, I want a VA, I want a LOA, but I don't have time to train them. The very first thing is, you have to map out the time, because you're not going to ever have more time. And if you don't train someone in the beginning, first, they're going to quit. Second, you're going to have unrealistic expectations that they know exactly how your business runs, and they don't, right? So I was on Zoom with him for 3 days straight. Like, I was screen sharing my entire life for 3 days. I had him start Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. He has Monday and Friday off. He's in college. So he has Monday and Fridays off right now until AEP. But he was on screen share, and then when I called my customer on my recorded phone line, I three-wayed him in with the customer's permission. I said, "Hey, David, I'm training a new agent. Do you mind if I three-way him in so he can understand your situation and be trained on, because it was a unique situation, you know? I was like, I want him to hear this. And so they all said yes. They all knew ahead of time, you know. I was like, hey, do you mind if I use this as a training example? And then so we did a couple appointments, for uh current clients and referrals. I had a couple of referrals come in. And so it was good training. And then, like I said, I integrated him into other aspects of the company. I had him, Zoom with my COO and my assistant. And he was part of our meetings, daily meetings, and stuff like that.
That's amazing. I think that's incredible. So what finally made you make the decision? Was it talking to Chris Westfall or was it another what prompted
No,
this?
it was so sometimes, Kathy, the right person comes across your path. And it was really, if you believe in an upper power, it was really a godsend. My friend my friend who was a broker manager for a carrier in another state, I had befriended her like, I don't know, 6 years ago. She messaged me and asked if she could post her son's resume in Medicare Mentors Facebook group because he was looking for a VA position.
Oh.
And I said,
Oh.
your son is licensed? Like, nosy, you know I'm nosy. And she's like, yeah, he's licensed, but he doesn't want to sell. I was like, okay. But I was like, can I have first dibs before you go posting this, you know? And I was like, well, I don't need someone to sell. I just need someone to answer questions that like only a licensed agent would know, you know? And to like do policy reviews, prescription lookups,
Service.
things like that. Right.
Yeah, just service.
And she's like, well, he wouldn't consider that selling if it's like taking someone from Aetna to Humana during AEP. I was like, perfect. So I zoomed him and everything, and he didn't have a camera at the time. So I'm just like going off of, like kind of like a phone call. And he had been doing customer service for another agency for a couple years already. So like he wasn't new to Medicare for another Medicare agency. So he
Oh,
knew the lingo,
nice.
you know, and he was doing some tech work for them, like automations, not with Go High Level, but if you're tech forward, and then he's in college for computer programming. So like somebody like right up my alley, right? Um and so I offered him the job on the spot. I was like, "Listen, I need help. It's like we can start you part time now while you're, doing your college classes and stuff. And AP, if you can work full time, I would greatly appreciate it. But it's because I trusted his mom, and I know his mom raised a good person, and because I know like the quality of training she gives that like, if he didn't know, he could always call his mom. She's worked for a couple carriers.
Okay, I have a
But
question about mom.
mhm. Mhm.
Is she in the business? Like why how come she didn't
Yeah,
hire him?
so she works for a carrier.
Oh, so she's an employee. She's not
Yeah,
okay.
Now, had she been looking, I would have hired a mom too. That's how much I highly think of her, right?
Right.
So it was like the right person. So just like I hired an au pair, you like it has to be the right person to come into your life, into your business, and integrate and stuff, you know. So right time, right person, right need. And then he already had some skills, so I didn't have to get him licensed. He already had his 2026 AHIP. I told him, I said, listen, I'll pay for your 2027 AHIP if you could do it before you start next Sunday or next Monday. And he
Wow.
did. So you already had showing me that you were willing to do your AHIP on your own time before you start on your start day, showed me that you were serious,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
Mhm. Because I learned with I previously tried to hire an LOA who spent the summer getting licensed and contract and certified, and then it didn't work out, and I had no idea what she was doing. So now I have parameters in place, and we have technology where we could see what they're doing on their computer, every 3 seconds and stuff. So it's a big step forward for me, but again, I had to map out the time of training him and stuff. So like next week when I'm not going to be around, I'm going to be at an IMO conference, like not a conference, a council. And so he's going to Zoom with my other support staff and get acclimated on that side, you know? So you do have to invest. Like, yes, you're paying him salary, but you have to pay for the training too. So, like, you know, he's going to learn a lot. He's going to learn how to do the operation side. I'll have to give him tasks like, hey, I want you to go and clean up. I want him to clean up my CRM, for example. You know, I want him to clean up my client files. If like we found someone like this client was in my CRM, but their policy, their med sup wasn't attached. You
Oh,
know, things like that.
yeah.
Um, and he's gonna get his contract in. So like next week, he's gonna do his contracting and certifications. So that should take his 3 days to do contracting and certifications, right?
Yep. Yep. So you have two recent hires, and then we'll just make an announcement on the show. Zach has found bigger and better things. We wish him well. So,
Mm-hmm.
Zach, if you're listening, thank you for all the service that you provided to Joanna over the years, and we wish you luck in your future endeavors. But you've hired two people recently. You've hired this LOA, I'm going to call it service assistant.
Yeah.
And finally, you're able to hire your au pair, which is going to help with your whole life having
Well,
this.
I guess you would call it three then, because I hired my COO recently, who comes on officially in 2 weeks. His Department of War fellowship is going to be done on
Oh,
the 31st of July, and he comes on officially.
that's Kevin, right?
Uh, that's Kevin. You met Kevin when you were in Orlando.
And he's
Um,
fantastic. I think you really got a winner with him.
this my yes, I. So here's the thing. Sometimes you have to look outside the insurance industry for talent because there's transferable skills. I've known Kevin since I was 21 years old in Germany. His character is what I was looking for. Like, if you can't trust Kevin with your wallet, you can't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is somebody who doesn't lie on their taxes. This is somebody who doesn't like fudge anything, you know. He's been a commander of Air Force squadrons. His leadership and people management skills, right? I hired him because he was the one who encouraged me to go to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, not just do my bachelor's there, but project management.
Yeah.
And I got my project management master's there. But that's what I was like looking for, someone who didn't want to do sales, because like a lot of times when people find out how much money is you can make in insurance, they want to do the sales because they want to make the millions. And Kevin's like, Joanna, I'm okay with running the operations in the background. And he has, bonus structures where if he runs the company, he'll get compensated, right? Um, but he understands things where I can just tell him once and I don't have to show him and explain things to him because he'll go figure it out, you know? And that's what I desired in someone of a higher level, is somebody I needed someone where I didn't have to spell out ABC, where I could just give him the general direction and he would go research it, right? And it's been amazing. Like, I've a load taken off my shoulders. He does all the dirty work I hate doing. We have a joke between us. I call him my janitor because he's been cleaning up my shit, you know.
But you've actually hired someone that's actually going to clean up stuff. That
Yeah.
is your au pair. But
So my au pair, we signed the contract yesterday. She booked her flight. She comes in 40 days from today,
love it.
and she's gonna live with us for a year. She's from the Dominican Republic. She's already in the country now, working with another family in New Jersey. So she's gonna have a different experience in the United States, going from New Jersey to Texas. And
Those are like two
you know,
separate countries.
yeah, might as well be, right? I was like, listen, we barely have snow here, so
She might not be able to understand the language in Texas versus New
well,
Jersey.
well,
It's different.
she's a Spanish is her native language. She'll be right at home in Texas because I think that one third of Texas is Spanish.
Well, yeah, they speak yeah, absolutely, but the accent in Texas versus the
Yeah.
accent in New Jersey, that's like a whole different language.
But again, when I was looking for an au pair, you're not just looking for someone who has the qualifications. Like, first, I needed someone who was infant qualified. Not every au pair is. They have to have an infant qualification. I wanted someone older than 21. Um, I didn't like,
Was that so
I,
you can send them out to buy wine?
no, because, I don't drink. I can't drink on Ozempic, Kathy. It was like the hardest thing in my life. But I
Oh,
don't drink anymore. No, it was really because first, auto insurance is cheaper.
okay, the real reason.
But I remember when I was 18 and in college and a little, leaving home for the first time, I didn't want to have a revolving door of boyfriends and dates and
I
stuff, right?
understand, yeah, I get it.
I was looking for someone a little bit more mature. Like, I have a 21-year-old that works with me now, and she's amazing. Just a little bit more maturity, right? Um, so I wanted someone a little bit older. I was really, I would have accepted any language for the right person, but I really feel drawn to someone who speaks Spanish because I really want to live in a Spanish speaking country in the future.
Yep,
Or Joanna has been looking for resources to might move to Puerto Rico in the future. My friends were talking to me last week about the Puerto Rican tax, and one of them said that he only paid 2% in taxes. And I said, Justin,
yep, and Puerto Rico's part of the United States, you
that
know,
is right.
part of the
And so
United States,
I
so
could live there and continue to do what I do.
yep,
So she had agreed to teach me Spanish as part of having an au pair is not just an employee relationship living in your house. You have to integrate them into your family, and it's supposed to be a cultural exchange.
yep,
So part of the cultural exchange is I teach her a better English. Now her English is already pretty good, but I teach her English. She teaches me Spanish.
great,
I teach her about American culture. She teaches me about her culture. Um, so I want to travel. It's hard. Everybody knows I adopted Harmony as a single parent. And sometimes it's hard to travel with an infant when it's just you. Like, collapsing her car seat and stroller at the airplane gate and holding her at the same time and picking up her backpack, my backpack, and putting it above the head while holding a
it's
baby is really
crazy,
difficult.
yep,
It is. Usually somebody offers to help me collapse her stroller, but I can't count on it, right? And it's still a little hot. Like, if I need to go to the bathroom on an airplane, I would have to ask one of the flight attendants to hold Harmony, right? So thankfully that hasn't happened in 5 flights yet, but it's bound to happen on a longer flight, right? Anyways, I was like, it's perfect because now this gives me a little bit of a relief. Like, I was asked to go to a conference in a couple weeks in DC. Hoffa invited me, um, and I had to decline because I don't have anybody to keep my crawling, babbling baby throughout the day, while we travel. Because she's no longer this sweet little cuddly, sleepy girl like she was when she was just a couple months old,
that's
right?
right, now she
I go,
can move, now she
yeah,
can move,
and she's like, ah, yeah, yeah,
yep,
moms,
yep,
right?
yep,
So she can no longer sit in the conference all day because she wants to be the star of the show.
so
So
now when you
she's
travel, you're gonna have to get two-bedroom suites,
And that's fine. So we normally do. Like,
yep,
I have a lot of use with my Hilton Grand Vacations and suite, like home two suites usually has 2 bedrooms and stuff like that. So I have no problem getting her own bedroom. That's one of the requirements of the program, by the way, is she has to have her own bedroom when she's working, which is no problem because I don't want her to listen to me snore anyway. Um, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. We probably will be like in Mexico for Christmas.
I'm so jealous,
Yeah, I'll be sending pictures from the beach.
yep, yep,
But when I interview for, do I want to talk to this person every day? Do I want to have to answer their phone calls because it's your employee? You can't ignore them. And do I want to have dinner with them? Do I want them to be around? And do I want them to see me without makeup? Like, you have to ask, like, not everybody I want to talk to every day. I might like some people, but I don't want to talk to them every day.
I
I'd be like,
understand.
I can,
Yeah.
I can only tolerate some people just enough, right?
Yep.
And so when you're looking to hire, I'm looking for character first. Is this somebody whose character aligns with mine? Do I agree with how they conduct life, right? Like, would I trust them with my bank account? Because you really do have to trust them. Like, when you bring an au pair into your house, you have to trust that they're gonna, conform to your house rules and your safety concerns, right? I'm hoping that, she doesn't set the kitchen on fire, things like that, right?
Yep.
And then with somebody doing service work for your clients, you have to trust that they research stuff and give appropriate answers, and not just tell somebody something to get them off the phone, right?
Right. Right. But this is exciting. Now you're gonna be able to focus more. You
Yes.
know,
I'm
it's gonna be exciting. Exciting. I'm so glad that Harmony is when's her 6 month? They have to be 6 months old in order for you to get the au pair. So when's her birthday?
Yeah, that was already passed. November 29th is her birthday, so
Okay.
we hit that in May 29th.
Okay.
She was actually in Orlando with us on her 6-month birthday.
Oh, did I know that?
Um,
I know I
by
kept
the way,
telling you to get an au pair. I know that, but
you
it's
did, you
not
did.
instant. It's not instant to get one.
Well, and again, I wasn't like, it's a big financial commitment because you don't get refunded if it doesn't work out, by the way, you
Oh,
know?
wait, so you have to pay I've heard it's around $30,000 a year, something like that?
Every agency is a little bit different. So they pay, you pay. They pay a little bit less, but they have to pay for their visa to come to the United States. They have to pay for some flights and stuff. So I committed to, I think I pay about 10,000 for the year for her existence in the program, and then I have to give her a stipend. I have to provide all of her meals. I have to provide all of her travel. I have to provide all of her personal toiletries, things like that. And then like, we agreed to certain things, like I'm giving her a weekly stipend, and I'm also paying for her cell phone plan, a gym membership. I'm buying a car for her because I only have one car as a single mom. I don't want her to drive my car and then leave me and Harmony with nothing if she wants to go out, right? So I'm gonna buy a car for her. So it's a little bit more for me because I have to I have to kind of like moving into a house. I have to set it up, right? Like
Right.
her bedroom, I have to go do some bedroom furniture because, like, the bedroom that she's gonna live in doesn't currently have it doesn't currently have a dresser in there. It has two closets. So I'm gonna go buy a dresser and some nightstands, and just set her up appropriately. So there is a cost. The cost is probably gonna equal to what I would have paid for
Nanny.
a local nanny. Like, I have a local nanny now. The problems with local nannies now is they usually have, their own life, their own family, their own kids, their own pets, and they don't usually want to travel for 3 weeks at a time over Christmas.
So au pair is perfect. 'Cause they
Yeah, yeah,
usually
yeah.
wanna
Because
travel. You're just gonna have to figure out the whole they need their own bedroom while traveling kinda thing.
so that's never been a problem for me because, like, when I travel to Maui, for example, I always had a 2 3 bedroom.
Two-bedroom, yep, that's all you need. Yep,
When we were in Orlando, we had a 3 bedroom,
I know,
right?
and that was great. Orlando
Mhm.
was great. Thank you for hosting me for that.
Yeah,
That was
and I
really fun.
frequently do Airbnbs and stuff instead of hotels these days.
Yep,
Um, Life has certainly changed with like, a lot of the companies have built opportunities for people to live different,
yeah,
right?
it's great.
I don't know when Airbnb started, but I feel like the last, I don't know, 8 years I was aware of Airbnb. It certainly did change how I travel.
It's
When I was
nice.
up in Plano at a conference last week with I brought my local nanny with me, and I rented a whole 6 bedroom Airbnb, and it ended up just being us and
Oh
Harmony.
my gosh,
Uh,
that's crazy.
but we had a private pool and everything, which was nice to not have to, go downstairs and,
Yeah,
stuff.
nice.
And Harmony had the entire living room, and we had laundry and stuff. So sometimes more
Nice to have
it's
a
fun.
bigger place. Well,
And not just sitting in a hotel room.
yeah, well, I think that's fantastic that you're hiring, that you've gotten your hires done, especially before AEP.
So
And
excited.
I'm looking forward to see. how everything blossoms. Sounds like
Thank you, Kathy.
you're watering your garden, and we're going to watch it grow. So that's exciting news. And for the listener, stay tuned because Joanna's going to start blooming soon. And we're so glad that you're here with us to watch all this happen. And we'll see you next time on the Insurance Business Babes podcast. Bye.